there's really no professionalism. Somebody's gonna fight, or
Literally just makes me feel like there are no excuses. Like,
it's been hard. I want to make it like more like a business.
I
Yeah,
need to bring down the hammer on this, or
I just know my worth, and that's really it.
Welcome to the Power Unit Success Cast, the show where we push the limits to unlock our greatness. Each week, we dive into the world of real estate, business, and entrepreneurship to bring you stimulating talks, insights from movers and shakers, and the mindset to do more so we can become more. Let's get into this week's episode.
all right, y'all. I want to introduce y'all to someone who is actually like, I actually think of you as a close friend, even though we don't like hang out a lot. This is my barber, right? But he's been my barber for probably like 8, 9, 10 years,
Yeah, probably
something like
more.
that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah,
But
for
the
sure.
reason why I felt like it was important to have you on, because we're almost like the same age, or we might be the same age. And like I've watched your business and development and you as an entrepreneur like grow over the years. And so when I'm in the chair, we be talking like business stuff. And I was
Right.
like, man, no, I think you said to me the other day, you were like, this is conversation for the podcast and stuff. And I was like, yeah, people need to hear this. So I want to introduce y'all, Mr. Anthony Cano. He owns Uppercuts Barbershop. And this is not gonna be a talk about barbershops or anything like that, but I just wanted to give you your intro, so thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking about that. The conversations we have are, quality conversations that I think, deserve kind of like a platform like this, or we could do it.
Yeah.
And so my name's Anthony Cano. I own a barbershop. I'm a barber by trade. I've owned a barbershop for 10 years. We have like 14 barbers, I believe. And yeah, I've known you for a really long time.
Yeah.
I've seen you grow. Uh, I've seen you do all these things, and I do a lot of things too. I'm a real estate investor as well. I've done a few deals, more than a few deals, and across different deal types. And I'm glad to be here and talk about that.
Yeah, man. So, like, just to put it into perspective though, because everybody knows about conversations in the chair and, I mean, the barbershop is a place, but when you have that connection with your barber that y'all can like talk about whatever. I really like the fact that we can talk about business,
Hmm.
and I feel our growth has been pretty similar over the years, just in different spectrums or planes. But it's like we face the same struggles, and
Right.
so we could talk about that, which I feel is important for all entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, entrepreneurs, it gets lonely, right? It gets
Hmm.
lonely. I was talking to one of my coaching students yesterday, actually, and she's running a brokerage. She's building the brokerage, and she's showing up for clients and doing everything. But on our call, she was like, "Chastin, this is a lot. So many people are relying on me," and it was feeling just real heavy, right? Us as entrepreneurs, we can oftentimes feel like there's nobody that we can talk to. We don't want to show weakness in front of our staff, or we have to be the face of it, take care of all the problems and this and that.
Right.
So it can feel lonely, right? And you don't really have a lot of people to have those conversations with
Hmm.
besides your spouse or your partner. So like for you and your growth and your journey, like, do you do everything by yourself? Do you make all the decisions? Do you ask people for advice? Like, how do you get that, next step or just those opinions?
Well, that's like kind of like the great thing about being a barber is like the network you have and the types of people that sit in your chair on a daily basis. Like I said, like you've been my client for a really long time. So I mean, just I mean, even we talk about those things not only for I mean, you've asked me things like, "Hey, man, like, what do you think about this and that? You like that?" Just like little things like that. And I'm just like, "Hey, what do you think about?" I mean, it's just bouncing back and forth. And like, I've a lot of people say that their barbers are is like their therapist, right? But I mean, in the same token, like I also get a lot from my clientele, and that's how I've built pretty much my business and like in the barbershop and the house flipping business. And I've that's how I got started wholesaling houses in the beginning. Was a client. It was a walk-in, and I ended up following him on Instagram, the conversation we had, and then reached out to him. And I mean, that's pretty much how I got started. When I started flipping houses, um all everybody that works on my house was my client or referred by my clients, so
Nice.
that's it's just a good resource to network and reach into, because
Yeah.
you like you said, most people only have their spouse, or they don't really have anybody else. A lot of people pay for mentorships, which is fine, which is what you know people should if they're in that position. But you know a lot of people, their barber is like somebody they confide in and they trust, so that's where I kind of pull from, because we've built those relationships and I can pull from them as well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I started coming to you, yeah, like 9, 10 years ago. And obviously, I'm over 30, y'all. I've had other barbers in my lifetime over the years, in different cities that I've lived in. And I feel like you were very unique because literally, even when I started coming to you, it was smaller. I think it was just you and a few other people.
Right, yeah,
And literally over the years, seeing you knock down walls, got shop full of people, and the real estate investing, which we are gonna get into for
yeah.
sure. But like, what is your model, or what is your vision for a barbershop? Because I don't see this a lot with people.
Yeah, so like growing up, man, I'm from Grand Prairie, and I grew up, you know, not in, it's not the I'm not on the best side of Grand Prairie, right? So, um, the barbershops we went to, and it's kind of still like that till this day. The barbershop where you're gonna get a good haircut is kind of like the more urban, more hood places, right? So I grew up in very hood barbershops, right, where you kind of there's really no professionalism. Sometimes there's a little bit of anxiety if somebody's gonna fight, or if
Mhm.
there's it's kind of like just an environment where most people's minds go to get a good haircut is going to be at a hood barbershop,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of great best practices there for business. So growing up, um, I was kind of always like into business. My dad, he was a manager of a big wheel company. He had his side hustles and stuff like that. So I knew a lot of his friends that owned businesses. So I just kind of always wanted to be that. Whenever I went into those barbershops, like for instance, I'll give you an example. We used to go in and like nobody would look at you, nobody would talk to you, and you just have to sit there. And sometimes I would just sit there for hours because I needed a haircut, and you're just like hoping that they're gonna be like, "Hey, you ready?" And
Yeah.
it's just like, man, I was just like, when I owned a barbershop one day, and I was like, that this is when I was like 12, 13 years old. When I own a barbershop one day, like I'm gonna change that, right? Um, Whenever you show up to a nice restaurant, I mean, you're greeted. I mean, there's like a maitre d or something like that. They let you know what's going on, how long the wait is, stuff like that. And that's just something that I feel like is should be standard, right? So I mean, little things like that. That's like just one aspect that I wanted to change, or I wanted to implement in my barbershop. Real marketing strategies. Like
That's what I wanted to
yeah,
ask you. So once y'all look up his Instagram and his barbershop, you have branded
hmm
that barbershop. You've branded the name like it is not just barbershop. It is, I
right,
mean, you have everything branded merchandise. I've bought merchandise
right,
from you
yeah,
because I was like, that's a cool shirt. That's a cool cup.
yeah.
Where did that come from?
Like I said, man, just pulling from just I mean, obviously each thing was I actually started making shirts from at the shop that I was at before. Caliber Cuts. I made shirts for them, and they were doing real well, and it was just cool. It was like something I had never seen. I'm sure people were doing it. This was in 2000 and like 8 or something like that. But I'm sure people were doing it, but I had never seen it, not in my city, you know. So shortly after I opened my shop, and I was like, hey, like it's just real creativity. Whenever you own a business, you can create it to be whatever you want. And I think that I just really wanted to build a community, and I wanted to build, like you said, the brand. And obviously that stuff is like marketing because they're gonna see their cup, or they're gonna pick their clothes out one day and they're like, oh shoot, I need to schedule a haircut. So I don't know why, but I've always thought of things like that. Like I want people to see me as many times as they can, right? Like there was certain things whenever I was in my own suite at that barbershop where like I would play the same music consistently. Like I love Lil Wayne. I was just a fan. I would always incorporate things I love, right? So I would put Lil Wayne on, like just play him all day. He was really hot back then. And I swear people would tell me like, hey man, song came on the radio, and I was like, dang, I need to go get a haircut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're
Understood.
like you're I forget the term, but you're basically, I mean, it's psychological.
Yeah,
You're
you're
setting
creating
them
associations
association. Yeah,
with
brand. Yeah,
objects, sounds,
association. Yes,
all that.
exactly. Yeah.
So, is there a strategy behind your marketing, or is it kind of like I am, where it's just like, oh, that seemed kind of cool. Let's make it marketing now.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. That's
Yeah.
really what it is. Honestly, like that's what it was in the beginning, right? And I've had my shop open for 10 years now. So there was a point where I felt like I hit a wall, right? I mean, you can only go so far for your natural talents, and you don't know what you don't know, right? So that's whenever I started researching other businesses. I took there's a I forget the website, but there's a website where you can take like college courses on marketing and stuff, and all that stuff. I took all that stuff, and it was kind of searching for answers, searching for more strategies, all that stuff. It helped me, but it really it's you know social media, Instagram. That's where I learned like a lot of like, I guess, the most applicable strategies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One other question or topic I want to hit on before we move on to the real estate investing. Y'all heard that he has 14 chairs, you said? So not only are you cutting yourself,
mhm,
but then you have other barbers in there. And I know from experience when you are working and dealing with other people, aka employees, independent contractors, whoever they are,
right,
it takes different strength, it takes different knowledge,
mhm,
and you have to make sure that it aligns with your business plan and your vision. You're putting the right people in
right.
there. What was that experience like, expanding and now working with others under you, I guess?
So I started with two barbers, right, and these barbers were my clients, and Danny and Juan, and they were my clients first. So they were in high school, and I had just started at a barbershop, and they expressed interest, and I told them, hey, whenever y'all get out of barber school, I'll open a barbershop. And that's what we did, right? So that was easy because I was kind of, in a sense, coaching them and showing them kind of the way, right? And promising them this, and I followed through. So now obviously you build that trust, and that's was my key to like our foundation and our culture, right? Um, and the more people got on, we pretty much kept everybody, and then the ones that didn't fit would fall off. But most of my barbers were with me for like 5, 8 years, and then they went off and opened their own barbershops. So I think like the key is just like building that culture, that trust. And I've done things to make sure that because like a lot of times people don't show you who they are at first, right? So there's things that like we do, like I said, implementing real business strategies. We've done like personality tests, before
Yeah.
when we interview people, we have certain things that we ask them, you know, and I feel like after all of that, I feel like I just went back and I try to get them as new as possible, and I try to just coach them up to, you know, to better perform in our environment. Because
Yeah.
if I bring somebody in that is, let's just say, an older barber, and they come in and they've only done walk-ins, and we do appointments, right? They've only done walk-ins, and um, they don't really carry themselves a certain way, and they kind of come and go as they please. Like it's hard to change that, but if you get them while they're young, and if you just give them as much value as you can, whenever they're coming up and whenever they're in school. I mean, we help people pass their tests. Like we're like, hey, like here's some study guides that we've had from our
Nice.
other barbers. Like you're still in school. Like if you're a client, you're 17 years old, and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about cutting hair. Hey, you should. Not really to my benefit, but like look what it's like. It's done for me.
Yeah.
So if that's really what you want to go, I'm gonna help you as much as you can. Here's some clippers. Here's some old clippers. We'll buy you some clippers. It's just that's so everybody is like that. So everybody's kind of passing that down to the next generation. Like
Yeah.
I literally put veterans next to new barbers. Like we have it staggered like that for a reason.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Dang.
there's things that we do that I do to make sure that it's obviously you can't force it, but those are I feel like creating an environment where that can happen and that
Yeah.
trickles down is just like kind of the best thing that I've done.
Yeah. I mean, it's strategic.
Mhm.
And when you had mentioned people have to make appointments, which by the way, I appreciate that y'all have appointments.
Right.
Like I literally remember back in the day, it was calling up to the barbershop and asking for the barber how many more heads you got,
Yeah.
or your mama driving you up
Yeah.
there, and it's like I got 3 people, I got 4 people, and then
You
that
s-
3 4 leads to you sitting there for 3 4
yeah. Yeah. For
hours,
sure.
and yeah, so even the appointments it's a higher level of standards, right? That
Right.
I even appreciate.
Mhm.
And I'm very unfamiliar with the structure of barbershops. So the other barbers in your shop, are they running their own businesses like 1099, or is it more of a corporate structure like they are employees of that shop?
So that's been like I wouldn't say it's a struggle for me because I don't really like harp on it, but that's been it's been hard, right? To try to make it because like I said, I want to make it like more like a business.
Yeah.
So if you think about like corporate barbershops or corporate they're not even barbershops, they're like corporate haircutting
Mhm.
services or businesses, corporate
Right.
haircutting businesses. If you think about those places, you're thinking about Supercuts, Pro Cuts,
Mhm.
all the stuff where you can just walk in. Um, and then like I said, you have the regular barbershops that are like you're gonna get the best haircuts, but they're kind of in the hood. They're a little sketchy. They're not put together. You can walk in, like you said, you call, and you hopefully they answer.
Right.
So you got to walk in, and there's a line full of people. No, you don't know who anybody is. Um, and one thing that bridges the gap with booking and websites and doing things like that, where everybody knows what they're getting, is you can look at the pictures, you can look at it. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's what I wanted to put together. But it's hard because these businesses, you don't typically get a good haircut because they're paying people by the hour and they're
Mm.
making tips,
Okay.
right? But the barbershops, traditionally, it's either you're getting a percentage or they're paying you booth rent, right? So that's been a struggle because as like Grand Prairie is growing right now, right? And
Mhm.
let's just say back in the day, I could rent a barbershop before I had a barbershop. That barbershop that I was working at was probably 800 to $1,000 a month,
Mhm.
and now a barbershop's like $3,000 a month,
Oof.
right?
What?
So like
Yeah.
haircuts, and I'm just giving realistic numbers, right? You can probably get somewhere 2,400, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But haircuts were also 10 when I started, 10, 12, 15, right? So haircuts now are 30, not even 30, 30 is like back then, 35, 40,
By
50.
the way, Imma say this,
Yeah.
everybody thinks, like, whenever I tell them how much I pay for a haircut,
Yeah.
they be like, "What? I ain't never paid that much for a haircut," but I'm like, "Man, y'all just don't understand.
So
There's better value there."
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a disconnect in economics because we're paying this and then the clients are paying this, but the barbershop owners they're at mercy to the barbers
Mhm.
because they still want to have a low booth rent, right? Because they want to keep the most of their money, and then they really don't want to be a percentage. So it's been a struggle, but I think that I have like I've it's not perfect, but I've have a good system to where I build them up. If you're working in my barbershop and you're new, then my barbershop is an asset to you, so I should get a cut of your
Yeah.
of what you're making, right? when you become an asset and all you're doing is your clients and you're bringing in new clients and they're coming specifically to see you, then you become an asset to me, right? And then that conversation can be had, right? So
Right, right.
they're all 1099, but like I said, as far as getting a more corporate structure, it's been a struggle. But I mean, I have a happy medium, and I think
Yeah.
that's really key to what I'm doing that a lot of people aren't doing,
Yeah. No,
still
I
to this
mean,
day.
I think that it's the same on the real estate side. So, I mean, I started out as a solo agent
Mm-hmm.
just by myself and then expanded out into a team. So with real estate agents, we're all 1099 too. So
Right.
even if an agent is on a team, they're still that independent contractor and can technically do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so me trying to build that environment, build the brand, build it on opportunity and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
then, like you said, there's a certain point, those agents who excel,
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of that asset to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets a little difficult because it's kind of like, hey, I need to bring down the hammer on this, or I need to make them accountable for this, or
Right.
whatever the case is. But then on the flip side, they're running their own business
Mm-hmm.
and this and that. But at the end of the day, you got to realize that this is your brand. And I've always told myself, this person or this bad seed or whatever's happening, they're not the end all be all.
Mm-hmm.
They can be great for right now, but there's someone else out there looking for an opportunity,
Right.
wanting an opportunity, and will probably go miles ahead of this other person just because you gave them that opportunity,
Right. Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And that's where I wanted to lead into now, because at your current position, and we've had these conversations about kind of giving back to people, or giving back to the community. So me as a real estate agent, I have courses, I have coaching, I do a lot of speaking, and so I help a lot of agents. And you and I have talked about, like, you helping other barbers. I think you've led seminars and taught classes and stuff,
Right.
right? But you haven't gone balls to the wall like I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
But like, how do you feel about that? Or just even as an entrepreneur, do you feel like it's necessary to help other people trying to do what you do? Or is it just, if someone asks, I'll tell them?
I think it's necessary. I think it's absolutely necessary, honestly, because um, like I said, it's just like one of those relationship things, right? Like the more people you help, and some people you help and they will just give you nothing back, right?
Right.
But like you really can't stop what you're doing, to because of those people, right? Because there's some people that are not even associated with my brand that I've helped and that own barbershops, right? Even if it is a small way, and I'm proud of them as well. And I just like because not only did I want to change I didn't want to change the way people look at barbershops as unprofessional and stuff like that and the way they operate. I wanted to change the industry, even if it's local, as much as I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of local barbershops that I help, and I mean, uh, I want to skirt around. I don't want to skirt around help, but I help. And I feel like I really love seeing that. I love seeing the game because it's one of those things that there's a saying, right? Leaving something better than you found it, right?
Mhm.
That's exactly what I want to do, and that makes me happy. So, um, you know, I think it's absolutely necessary to continue to help on the largest scale, or like you said, balls to the wall. I'm not doing that right now,
Yeah.
but
Well, let's get into that.
yeah.
Why haven't you monetized it yet?
Um, I haven't monetized it because I'm not a part of your content boss.
My
No,
coaching?
your coach.
Right.
No,
Right.
no,
No.
I don't know because the funny thing is I've known you for a long time, right? And I know other like influencers personally, and I know other people or influencers or people that offer coaching and stuff like that. Um, I'm very well connected with the industry of people that do that. And like I said, the person that got me into real estate um is an influencer. Well, he's a big known he's a known person, right, in the
Mhm.
space. And I mean tech spaces, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like check up on each other basis. So I really don't know why. I like hope it brings me joy to help the people behind the scenes and not really post and stuff about that. But I do want to reach people and I do want to help more people. At Before I got into real estate, what I wanted to do was open a barber school, and that was where my funds, my nest egg, my plan was going, right? Um, and like you said, I would go speak at barber schools and stuff. And I remember like speaking at a school, and I remember, it feels just like this. You're right in front of, you're right in front of people, and then you're like,
Mhm.
you're talking to people, and only like half the room's really listening. You know,
Right.
only half the room's listening, and there's people in the back, and they got their heads hanging like this, and you're kind of like, hey man, like I have a lot of like, I'm here to give, I'm here to pour into you, right? And you got these knuckleheads in the back, and they're not, paying you any attention. It's fine. It doesn't really bother me, right? Because I mean, I don't do even know their names at that point.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, did I want to wake up every day and like go and spend a lot of my time doing these things and like on the other hand, the people, the half that you will, but the other half, and I was like, what, I don't know, and I still don't know that. I might open a barber school still, but I was like, you know what, real estate is pretty much just math. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm good at math, so I went into real estate. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, but I think that that's important to point out because I'm sure you've heard this quote like people value what they pay for,
Hmm.
and if someone is attending a seminar and there's no telling if they paid or what they paid,
Hmm.
but it's like whatever got them to pay, they may be waiting on it or probably heard it already. But for you, like out of most entrepreneurs who I talk to,
Hmm.
you are legit on my same wavelength, right? Meaning, no, like meaning this isn't just a little barbershop or this isn't just a little investment. Like
Right.
this is a business. And I've even watched you develop other barbers. We've had these conversations about you helping people even outside of your shop.
Right.
And you attend events too. So you
Right.
already know the opportunity,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity, so like I've been pulled up on stage, right? Before at a real estate event, and I froze, right? Because I mean, like I told you the story. I walked up there. It was at Donovan Ruffin's event, and he's like, "Hey, Cano, come up here." And he was kind of like, "Hey, to the people, because most people trying to get into real estate or real estate investing, they have W-2s." And he's like, "Hey, how do you do it all, right? Like, how do you balance being still cutting, uh, owning the barbershop, right? Your family, real estate, all these things, right? Still my hobbies. I still golf and do jujitsu every week, and I know that, but that's what I do. And I
Yeah.
went up there and I froze, and I don't want to say it scared me away, but it's just kind of, it was like it wasn't a start that I was ready. Like I wasn't really ready at the time, but I didn't ever thought about it, but it did make me think about it after that. After that fact, I'm like, you know what? I should have, like, I want to get better at that because that was weird. That felt different. I want to get better at that. And like you said, providing for the community. I think in my mind, I want to provide jobs, which I have. I want to provide housing, which I have, and I think maybe one of the next step is just providing a platform to where people can, you know, hear what I have to offer. And
Do you ever feel like you're not big enough yet or attractive enough for people to pay attention?
um, yes and no, because I know that the logical thing is like I'm not really looking for the big audience, right? I'm not really looking for the level that you're on or Ryan Pineda or like all these people, right? I know that there's an audience for me, right? So in my logical mind, you know, like, but in my on the flip side, and I mean, yeah, I kind of feel that imposter syndrome, that everybody
Yeah.
feels, when they're at first,
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm still a baby, because I'm nowhere near to where I can see myself, right?
Yep.
So that's the thing. It's like maybe if I wait to what to where I'm there, right? Maybe when I'm there, people will listen. So right now I'm cool with just the people that know me that I'm talking to on my chair. My neighbors, my friends, stuff like that. So it's like I said, it's that battle between your logic and
To see
your
something,
feeling.
this thought that I had to come to the conclusion of especially by you using that example, I'm not here. And those are the people that you and I are looking to. Like, we're
Right.
looking to the people here. We're trying to get on their level.
Mm-hmm.
However, what we're neglecting are the people who are just trying to get to where we are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if we keep waiting to reach their levels, our gap is getting too big to where now it seems unapproachable, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we think about some of these people, I don't know, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, they're like up here. And even I tell myself, I want to be there, but I know I got a long way to go.
Right.
And there's people that are just getting started that are probably saying, like, well, I know I can't get there yet,
Right.
but what's the next best?
Right.
And like I said to you the other day when I was sitting in the chair, I was struggling with that myself, right? Because I wouldn't even say it was imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that what I did know and what I did want to talk about didn't have that much value to it, right?
Right.
Because I was like, it's not what such and such is talking about, or it's not as technical as them. So I wasn't thinking that it was valuable to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, I was trying to well, no, I realized I was thinking about the wrong audience. I was thinking about people who were more like me,
Mm-hmm.
right? People who wanted to know that knowledge of this icon person or this
Mm-hmm.
big person. I was thinking that that's who I was teaching. That's
Right.
who I was making content for. When in reality, I was making content and my audience is people who want to get to the level that I'm at,
Right.
right? Like, that's who I'm serving. And it was a major shift for me
Mm-hmm.
because all of a sudden I felt worthy. I felt knowledgeable. I felt like I had all the tools to get someone who was probably at a 1 to like a 8. And by the time they get to that 8, I'll have what I need to know to get them to a 10, you
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the real estate investing, and you kinda made it seem small earlier, like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
do a little real estate investing."
Yeah.
Nah, man, you're, like, legit. I'm talking flipping, subject to, just all across the board,
Right.
and it's amazing because I feel like it happened very quickly for you, right?
Right.
And you were even telling me stuff and VAs and this platform and that platform,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? There's so many people who wanna start flipping,
Right.
right? Who wanna get it going, but everybody feels like they don't know what it takes or what to do first or this and that.
Mm-hmm.
How did well, how do I wanna ask this? How did you feel comfortable enough to take those first steps and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna apply for this, or I'm gonna drop the money," or, like, how'd you get
Um.
comfortable enough to do that? The reason why I say comfortable, just to put it in
Mm-hmm.
context, most people have the knowledge already.
Right.
Right? Because the knowledge, especially about real estate investing, is everywhere.
Right.
Most people have the knowledge, but I think that people aren't comfortable enough to take that first step and dive in.
Yeah. For me, I think it's just like I kind of have like if I'm really interested in something, if I get like obsessed with something, right? And like you said, some people just will consume knowledge and they never do anything. I think for me, I've always been like an action taker, and I've always just kind of like dove head first into things that I really really want to do. And that's something I've saw myself doing ever since, even in barber school. And it was just it's like I said, I had a support system. I knew you, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I like the other client. His name is Alex Signs. I got him as a walk in, and then he brought Carlos Reyes, and then I just had a couple little pieces, right? Pieces of these things, pieces of it's possible, right?
Yep.
And it's just like I saw you grow. Before you, I knew you before you were actually an agent. I knew you way before that, and it's just like, man, just seeing these people grow, right? And I'm not that I'm not growing. I'm growing my business, right? I'm growing.
Bro, you growing. You
Yeah, I'm
you
growing,
growing
right?
big. Yeah.
But I know that I'm as a 1099 employee or as a
Independent
as a
contractor. Yeah.
as a business
Business
owner,
owner.
as a
Yep.
business owner, I'm not a ten, but as a business owner, I'm responsible for my own retirement, right?
Mhm.
There's no 401k for me. There's no, savings, all of that I'm responsible for. So I just, having a family, doing these things, I just like, man, I have to start investing. And honestly, it just snowballed. And like I said, I'm a person that I'm not like really, really like, I'm not the most athletic guy, but if like we start a sport, I'm like, oh, bro, if you got two arms, two legs, I can do the same thing, to a certain extent, right? So, and I'm gonna outwork everybody in the room, and that's pretty much where my confidence comes from. Confidence comes from. Um, so like I said, my dad was an entrepreneur. My dad was a manager. He has tons of confidence and stuff like that, and I don't know, I've just absorbed that, and it's just something that's programmed in me. So
Yeah. I mean, but what's different is that to me, in my
mhm.
opinion, you you moved fast with that,
Yeah,
and there were different factors in moving fast. So luckily, I've been blessed to even for some of my investments, they've just been dropped on my desk, right?
right,
Or I've been sent an email or a text message. I
right,
got this coming. I'm a realtor and I'm very well connected. But for you, I know that we've talked about you running Google ads and then you getting on the phone and having these conversations with people
right.
to make a deal happen. Being in the real estate space, someone getting even comfortable to use scripts and to have these
Yeah,
conversations is a way longer time than I saw you did
yeah.
do it.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
So yeah, that man, I mean, it's just like I said, if you like somebody else can do it, I can do it, right? Obviously there's things I don't like to do, but um man, really, I mean, what is it? Like I said, it's like it's you, these other people, it's like just support system, right? I'm married. I had my wife had to support me. I have friends and my first few deals I didn't do on my own. I just want to make that clear. Like
mhm,
I it was like kind of like my idea and it was burning in me that I had to do it. And I was like, I talked to my best friends and I was like, "Hey, like, I'm gonna do this, right? And I'm going to go do this, so I wanna eat with my people."
yeah,
It's the same thing with my barbershop. I wanna eat with my people. Like, my barbershop, my brother's the manager, my uncle works there, I have 2 cousins that work there, and it's just like, I wanna eat with my people, so we went, we came back, and then we were trying to wholesale, and then we ended up I talked to a lead, made a deal, and then we're like, "Man, let's just keep it and flip it." I'm like, "All right, cool." You know what I mean? So we just kept it and flipped it, and that's where we started really. Um, but it's just like I said, I don't know, I get a fire burning in me. I don't ever stop moving. Like just today, I went and I did some appointments. I went to a fix and flip, um, and to check the work in progress. I went and had a father daughter talk with my daughter, and then now I'm
mhm,
here. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I like do all these things. I don't sit down. Like I almost like my barbers, anybody that sees me, you'll never see me sitting down in a barber shop. Like I'm sitting down right now, and I'm a little antsy,
yeah,
because I'm always going,
yeah, yeah.
So
So with entrepreneurship, starting a business, there's always an incredible amount of risk,
mhm,
and you gotta take that leap of faith. And typically you're starting out solo; it's just you,
mhm,
so you only have to be accountable for you.
mhm,
Did you ever experience anything? Because I remember when I started investing, this was something that played in my head a lot. It was like, okay, I'm starting this other thing and doing this other thing that takes a lot of money,
right,
that takes time, all that kind of stuff, but I have this other business.
mhm,
The risk seemed greater for me because it was like borrowing from one to fuel the other and this
right.
and that. Did you experience that at all, or you just started from the ground and
In the business and
yeah.
transplanting money from what I was doing to
Mhm.
what, yeah. So I started. So I had like anybody else. I have like my likes and my hobbies and things I like. So I owned a couple classic cars. Um, and like I said, I was in charge of my own retirement, so I had accounts where I was investing and I was trying day trading and swing trading, and I did all these things, and I was pretty successful. But I like the idea of a hard asset. I like the idea of providing housing and all those opportunities. I just fell in love with real estate. So I had a little bit. I mean, this was in the shop was probably like 7 years old, and it was like it's not going anywhere. it was so solid. I believed in my team so much. I believed in everybody that worked there for me, and it's one of those things like I it's my support system. I knew I had capital. I knew that I had a clientele that I could probably cut in half and still take care of my family. And I was just kind of like, you're never gonna be ready,
Yeah.
right? You're never gonna be ready. So like, you could just like, it all comes to like fearlessness, you know. It all comes. It what you need is confidence, right? And you need to not have that fear. It's always gonna be there. You're always gonna have analysis paralysis, but sometimes you gotta jump, you know.
Yeah.
And like the perfect example, and this just recently happened. If I can just tell a little story real quick. So my daughter, she's just started competition cheer, and it's like competition cheer is like the craziest sport I've ever seen. It requires so much, right? But she started. She was born with two left feet, man. She just was so clumsy. So we put her in gymnastics for like 2 years. She was off for 4, and then all of a sudden, my little sister got her into competition cheer. So she went. She started, doing tumbling classes, and then she tried out for a cheer team, and it's a high level cheer team. She's not supposed to make it. She makes it. So she's so obsessed. I'm taking her.
She's
We're
not
spending all
supposed
this.
to make it.
She's not supposed to make this team. Like,
Yeah.
and she makes it. I'm like, all right, cool. Now I have to spend, hundreds of dollars a month. We have to travel. We have to do all this stuff. So we end up taking her to a private coach later, right? And this private coach tells us there's a girl, and he calls her by name, but he's like, hey, that's the next. Her name's Camden. That's the next Camden, and she's like just this amazing athlete. And I'm like, my daughter's not s- my
Yeah.
daughter is not the best athlete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's very determined, but and I'm like, how is like
Very
I'm
determined.
so happy, right?
Yeah.
Bro, it
Yeah.
makes it
Yeah.
right. We're super happy. But why is it? Is this because he wants us to continue to do her
Yeah.
private
Yeah.
lessons? And he's like, nah, bro. Like I'm 6 feet tall. I'm holding your daughter in the air, right? Because she wants to be a flyer. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm holding your daughter in the air, and she's fearless, right? And that's what it takes. It's not her ability. It's the fear. It's the fearlessness that she's willing to do it, because you can have the most athletic person, and I'm gonna hold them in the air, and their fear is gonna have them all. But you got this little girl that I'm throwing in the air, and she's just not scared. So that's what's gonna make her great if she wants to continue on this path. You know what I mean? So that's like a lesson for me.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm taking the next step in anything that I'm doing, is like I just have to be fearless. I just have to have that confidence.
Yeah. I mean, dang, that was so deep. Fear is just the thought, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, fear is just the thought. Why are we scared of something? It's a thought, and then it's some programming behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we scared of something? Because somebody else is scared of it, because somebody made
Mm-hmm.
it seem scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe even for your daughter, the people who she watched be hoisted up
Mm-hmm.
weren't scared. So it's like, why would I be
Why would
scared
I
of?
be scared?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why would I be scared of it? And that's some gosh, you said so much. The parallels that you even mentioned are so close to the real estate industry.
Mm-hmm.
Even as an agent, right? Even as an agent who's not an investor, but having those conversations, um, not having that fear.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I may not know what I'm doing 100%, but I will learn along this journey.
Mm-hmm.
Earn while you learn is something I always say.
Right. Yeah.
Earn the money while you were learning. And stories like yours, like, hey, I got this going on. I got a family. I got this going on. Literally just makes me feel like there are no excuses. Like, if you really want it,
Right.
go get it.
Right. For
Make
sure.
it work. Everybody's everybody's always trying to find a a replacement, in a sense of, and hey, how can I do this without this or without that, or I got all these other things going on, I can't fit this in. And
Mm-hmm.
I always say it is not about replacing something, it's about integrating.
Right.
You have
Yeah.
to integrate it in.
Right.
So, work life balance, no, there's no work life balance, it's work life integration.
Yeah. Bro, I have a saying, and I'm gonna butcher it because I don't remember, but it's like, so barbers don't balance, they blend, right? So because
Mm.
people ask me, and the barbers blend. So that's like the perfect story for my life. My so I bought a house, right? I bought a house at 23 as a barber, right? And so a lot of people think like that's a different topic. A lot of people think that barbers don't make money, but if you hustle, you can make some money.
Oh
So
yeah, you make money.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I bought my house at 23 years old, or maybe 22, and then I opened my shop at 23. My shop is, I think, like 200 paces, 200 or 200 feet,
Mhm.
200 paces from my house. My first house. That house is now an Airbnb.
Yeah.
But my first house, so I lived there, and why was I able to be there day and night? I would have done it regardless, right? But in mine, I'm like, you know what? I have to I have to blend this together. Like, how am I
Mhm.
going to be here for my family? Be able to come home, see my daughter at lunchtime, and go back to
Mm.
work,
Yeah.
bro. And that has been such. It's. I mean, not everybody can do that, but it's like something that I've done that not a lot of people know because I didn't want anybody to know where I lived.
Yeah.
But now I can say that I lived 200 feet. My fence line is shared with my barbershop. So it's business on this side, and my neighborhood starts right behind it, and that's where I lived. And it's just like, man, it's just doing those things. My real estate office is inside my barbershop. My barbershop's 2,000 square feet. You know, I put where my office
Yeah.
is. Like
Yeah.
you've taken calls and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
can I step in
I'm
to
like,
do
I
it?
need to use. I need to get on
Yeah,
the computer.
can I
Yeah.
use your
Yeah. I
office?
got a Zoom call. I gotta
I got a
go.
Zoom call.
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. Like, bro, I've just blended my life. I've integrated it. There's not really a balance.
Nope.
There's not really. There's not really a balance, and I think that people are waiting for that.
Yeah.
And bro, you cannot wait for that. You have to make it work, and you have to make it blend, and you have to be a problem solver. That's what real
Problem
entrepreneurs are.
solver.
You have to
Yes.
solve those problems, right?
Yeah.
And so I solve my own problems. My barber's problems are my problems. You know what I mean? It's just like I guess I've gotten good at it over the
Yeah.
years, but I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, integration. That's what you got to do. Integration. Um, the VAs that I have working for me, they run my barbershop Instagram. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just like, hey, how can I maximize everybody's strengths, everybody's powers, and that way I can do more.
Yeah.
So
One other topic I want to hit on, and that's the topic of value because I feel like it really parallels with real estate agents. A few things that real estate agents we struggle with is people asking us to discount our commission, feeling our rate is too high, um, you name it,
hmm
right? A lot of real estate agents have a problem with showing value. Something that I know about you is that I think I pay probably like $60, $70 for a haircut now.
hmm
And I remember over the years, like you've sent out emails like, hey, my price is going up. Hey, my price is going up. But what I also know is that this man's schedule is always full,
right,
like literally always full. Luckily, my assistant schedules my appointments now because I'm so bad at it that I gotta like text on the side and be like, please help. But
yeah. If you think about it the day of, like you're
yeah,
gone, you're like, oh
yeah.
shoot, yeah.
But how were you able, or how do you feel like you're able to show your value in just you,
Right.
right? Just you as a person, you as a barber, you as an investor. How are you able to show your value to where you can get what you deserve and not have to lower your prices because other barbers are $10,
Right.
20, right?
Yeah. Um, like I said, it's just like it goes back to being confident, right? And the value you have, right? I know what's out there. I know what I offer. I know that my appointments are on time, right? We or I make it clear that
Their own time.
it's gonna be within the 15-minute
Yeah.
window, right?
Yeah.
I now respect your time and you respect my time, right? The thing about making those appointments is, like you said, it sometimes a lot of people procrastinators, and we're all the biggest procrastinator. But my clientele over the years with being strict on those appointments has the I want to say the value of the person. That's not
I mean,
so
it's
over
someone
so
who appreciates.
yeah so yeah, over the years, people that appreciate their own time will appreciate yours, right?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. So eventually, when you're booking those appointments, the procrastinators will fall off, and the people that value their time, and you understand that they value their
Mm.
time, and that they will value yours. It's just gonna work. You know what I mean? So, um,
it's
Whenever,
just one of those things, like, you're not for everybody,
right?
right?
I'm not for everybody, but that's the
Exactly.
thing. The time is the one thing, right?
Mhm.
But I've also been cutting hair since I was 12 years old. 12 years old is my first haircut. I'm 30. I think I'm 34, right?
Yeah,
So
we are the same
yeah,
age.
I'm 34. So I've been cutting hair since I was 12 years old. So I've been cutting hair for over half my life.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't seen anything new, right? I obviously still continue education and learn these new trends, right? But I can, bro. I'm always gonna give you new. I can't. I don't even. I can't remember the last time somebody was dissatisfied with their haircut, right?
Yeah.
Every time, even sometimes I help out with the walk-ins when I'm in there and I'm working or whatever, and they're slammed. I'll grab a walk-in, right? And that's like the value I bring to my people, right? I'm
Mhm.
always gonna. I'm always sweeping. I cleaned the restroom yesterday because somebody peed all over it, you know? And bro, that's just like the value, bro. I'm pulling my sleeves up. I'm always gonna be there shoulder to shoulder with you, right? And I think that my clients know that too. I'm always gonna work things out for them whenever they're, whenever they're late, whenever they need um, you know, they need a early hair. You got a flight, you got an event, you're gonna go speak at. It's early, late. I'm
Yeah.
text me. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be in my book. Text me. I'm gonna be there for you if I can.
Yeah.
And that's really the value I bring. I'm literally with confidence. I'm probably the one of the most consistent barbers that I've never known. And I've bred that as well with my barbers, right? But I'm consistent. We provide value, and I'm flexible with you. Our shop is always clean.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like it, bro. And that's why my value, and I I just know my worth, and that's really it.
But was it ever a point where, because I believe I remember when you made your first price increase, right?
Hmm.
And you sent out an email, and I think even in that email you were like, I understand there's some people who not gonna
Yeah,
come back, but that was the first one.
yeah. That was the
I
first
don't know
one.
how many have happened since then. Like, fuck it. I
I don't
just
do it
keep
all the
it.
time, but I do it
Yeah.
in 10. I do it like a lot of people will do like 2, 3, 5. I do it in like increments of 10,
Yeah.
because I'm just like, I'll wait. And then people are like, thank God, because like I couldn't get in and I'm willing to pay that.
Oh.
That's the first thing,
Yeah.
is because whenever I did it, I was so like, bro, I sat on
I
it
was
for
gonna ask you that,
probably a
like,
year.
did you struggle with
Bro,
even
it was such a
doing that?
struggle.
Yeah.
It was probably a year. I was like
Oh yeah.
contemplating, and my wife was like,
Shit.
bro, like, so the first thing is I would do handwritten appointments, right?
Mhm.
You text me, call me, miss your call, I call you back, all this stuff. And then one day, that this is another, and it's gonna involve my daughter. So this is another thing. I would go home, I would work 10 to 8, right? I get home, my daughter's going to bed at 9, right? 8:30. I get home, I would eat, and I would sit there while I was eating, just eating, and I would just fill out my paper appointment book, right? And then one day, and my daughter would try to get my attention, try to get my attention. I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm eating, I'm working. And then it's time for her to go to bed. She's already asleep by the time I'm done. And so one day I get home and I look for my appointment book and I'm gonna text everybody back and all this stuff. And there's scribbles all the way down my appointment book. And I get mad at her. I was like, hey, this is my appointment book. You can't do this for work. I explain to her that, I'm
Mhm.
telling her, don't do this. This is not paper. This is not your coloring books, whatever. Don't color my stuff. And she was like, Daddy, I was just trying to help you so you can play with me. So you had time to play with me. And I was like, bro.
Oh
And I was like, all right, I'm going online. And I heard about it from a friend, Jake. And I set up my book. And I'm like, you know what? This makes more sense. It's easier for 60 people to make one appointment than it is for one person to make 60 appointments,
man.
And then ever since then, my book started getting more quality, more people that understand, like, you know what I mean? That my time, and now you're booking it, you're committing to it, you're putting your credit card into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to come,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? That's just like, it's just been, that's what I'm going towards. That's what I've always tried to go towards, is like integrating and, being more professional and just having a better barbershop experience. And that's where my value is just always going to come from.
That reminds me of a quote. Price is never the issue, or no, price is only an issue in the absence of value.
Yeah.
Price is only an issue in an absence
Absence
of
of value. Yeah.
value. And, that rings true across many different
Hmm.
industries. Us as agents, how valuable are you to clients to
Right.
leads? Are you just talking to them and sending them to go get pre-approved, or are you really meeting with them to get to know what they're trying to do?
That's a
Right?
good point because it's the quality. You know, like
Yeah.
which one's the quality, and it's the same thing. It's like you have all these people that really want to get you in, and a lot of times you're providing a service. You're a tradesman. You're
Yep.
providing a service. So some people will see you just as that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the way you describe me is not as that, right? But there's a lot of people that at first those are the clients you have to deal with that just kind of see you as somebody that's just giving them a service and they got to get gone and they don't really like why can't you get me in? You know, all those things that
Yeah.
go with that. But whenever I started doing that and like I said and I was like, "Hey, you know what? It wasn't a value of my time. Now this is the only time I have with my daughter because I'm working so hard. So how much value is that, right? Like and it's not a dollar value, but it made me um demand or understand that I was
Yeah.
more valuable to that. So that's when I raised my prices, and it was hard. And I did lose some people that I liked and I love to see every day. But like I said, eventually, whenever you demand or whenever you ask or demand for what you're worth, and you understand your worth, and you understand the people you know that
Mm-hmm.
love what that time is worth with them, then you can price yourself correctly. And you know, it's one of those risks. Like you said, it's
Of
just a risk.
course. Yeah.
But those people that value their time and they see you more than just like a pit stop in their week,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Those are the people. That's the quality of clientele that you're gonna have. You know, and like you said, it's like, am I running to like these appointments that are going nowhere,
Yep.
or is this gonna be my best shot at a listing, or you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's the
Same with
same
commission. It's
the
like,
same thing. You know,
you know, I may charge 3%. I may charge 4, 5 for
right?
just my side,
Hmm.
but there's a different level of value there. I feel like that was just the overall theme. And I know that some people listening to this, they may be like, oh, I'm not trying to open a barbershop. But no, this was much deeper
Right.
because this whole value thing and how you show up. I mean, we talked about value in the branding. We
Mhm.
talked about value in what you give to your clientele's value in timing. All of that feeds into the business, value in the people who you have around you,
Right.
right? Like all of that feeds into the business. And so you can't write it off because you're
Right.
gonna you're gonna miss something. Like,
Mhm.
and that was one thing about me, and I think I heard you say it earlier. When I study and joined courses and attended classes, I always did them outside of the real estate industry.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
like I
For
was looking
sure.
at the marketing plans of Nike and Starbucks and attending other stuff
Mhm.
because, unfortunately, real estate, if everybody's listening to everybody, then it's the same message being passed around. I want to go and listen to the people who are
Exactly.
disrupting other industries. What are they doing? How are they doing it differently? How are they showing value? How is Starbucks able to show value of a $6 cup of coffee versus
Exactly.
racetrack being $1 or
That's what
McDonald's, right? Like you got to look outside and really think about value differently.
that's one of my most so a mentor, I see him as a mentor. A mentor of mine actually told me, "Read this book. It's called It's Not About the Coffee." And it's from like the CEO of Starbucks.
Mm,
It's not about the coffee. And that is one of the books that have changed my business. And that's like you said, I've always like I can why continue to look into the space that I'm in, of course, right? But at a point, like I said, I hit that wall in my business and I was like, I need to expand. I started looking into other things and there's parallels in the same in the agent space and the
yeah.
barbers like it's like you know, like you said, you got your commission, right? You want your commission, but if somebody else is bringing you value, then you might, you know what I mean? You might balance that out with them. Like, okay, cool. How many properties do you own?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, you own 5 properties? Okay, cool. I'm gonna sell all of them or am I selling this one property that's I'm never gonna see you for the next 10 years, right? So there, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like there's clients that come in like you and you're just like, hey man, like boom, I need to go. Like you
Yeah.
always get me right. And then those clients come, hey man, can you this,
Yeah.
like this hey man, can you touch this up right
Yeah.
here? Can you touch
Yeah.
this up right
Yeah.
here? Like, and it's
Yeah.
just like, bro, the value, y'all are paying the same for the haircut, bro, but I'd rather cut you. You know what I mean?
I know.
All right, cool. So I'm always gonna. I mean, there's going to be a little bit more leeway, right?
Yeah.
You know, so there's parallels in every business, and like I said, when I hit that wall with mine, that's what I learned. You got to look at into other areas of business
Yeah.
to make your own conclusions and build your own,
Yeah.
practices.
Yeah. Whew, man, we could sit here and talk for hours and keep going on this. Like, this is real stuff. If you don't realize it by now, this is real stuff. But we got to wrap up. So, but before I let you go, where can people find you and see what we've been talking about?
So my Instagram is at Uppercuts, like it's spelled _Cano, Cano. Um, I give out my
Your
phone number.
website too? No, not your phone
My
number,
phone
but
number?
like no, your phone would be blowing up left and right.
All right,
No,
so
your website though, I mean,
yeah, so like you can book a haircut or any of my like amazing barbers. You can book them on bookuppercuts.com. If you know anybody that wants to sell a house that needs, quick, fast cash, I'm an investor. It's not going to be the most money, but if it solves a problem of the quickness, getting it done with the quickness. 3 the number 3 KEY, cashoffer.com, and or just hit me up in my DMs and we can see if we can work out any deals together. Like I said, he said I buy houses subject to with little to no equity. Owner finance deals, buy
oh,
the houses, fix and flip. I'll find you a buyer for anything that you need.
yeah.
So, yeah, so that's where you can find me.
And I'll drop your links in the show notes and in the
Hmm.
comments. Yeah, like definitely check it out because man, I have learned a lot from you. I've gained a lot of perspective from you. And again, I'm in the real estate industry, right? But there is value in the people that you meet and that you
Right.
associate yourself with. And, like, heck, it's exciting for me to come to the barbershop. Like, and I
Yeah.
don't even be getting that much cut. I mean, look at my hair. I got all
Yeah.
this hair. I don't even get that much cut, but
Yeah.
it's such a different experience.
Yeah.
And just the people who you have around you, like, are they benefiting you? Are they taking from you? Are they filling your cup?
Yeah. The
Are they
energy.
not?
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
there's so much more involved. And I've learned a lot from him in other spectrums. I know a lot of people in my audience can as well. You guys, if you're here in Texas, get in the right chair.
Yeah.
Like, get in the
Yeah.
right chair. You'll leave his chair making more money than you walked in with, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true, man.
but
I've gotten
yeah,
clients out of debt. I've gotten clients their first real estate deals. You know what I mean? It's just like
see,
help
yeah,
with relationships, marriages, man. You name it.
you just never know. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I appreciate you for
Yeah,
being
for
here.
sure.
Thank you for listening to the Power Unit Success Cast. If you're excited about what you just experienced, make sure to subscribe. Also, leave us a rating if something you heard resonated with you, and feel free to share your thoughts about this episode on Instagram. See you next week.